Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. Now today we're going to have another pairing video, and we are going to pair the Neoholothele incei olive, the incei olive, or the Trinidad olive. Now these are a small dwarf spider, and I'm getting rather fond of them. They are really quite cool. And we've actually moved a couple of our adult females over into the 5 litre tubs, and just to see how they go. So we've like half filled them with soil and the other half is left for webbing. Now these guys really do a lot of webbing, and bearing in mind when we look into this one now, this female has only been in there for a week, so she is already webbed up quite substantially. There's going to be a lot more webbing going on just yet. Anyway, we're going to try and pair them today and see how they go. We see some really cool footage here, some interesting stuff with our male. Try and remember how some of our other males have behaved, how they can be quite frantic with the way they wave and communicate with the females. This little male, very solid, direct. He's a real cool little fella actually. Once he gets over that initial fear of our female, and we found this before with these guys, the female can put the male on edge real quick, so he's very cautious. But anyway, let's go over, have a look, see what you think of it. I think it's really quite smart. I'll see you in a minute. Well, here we have our Neoholothele incei, or the Trinidad Olive. That's our male who's just entered in the top of the picture. You notice these guys are quite skittish. Our female is sitting down at the bottom there. Now this female has only been in this enclosure for the past week. They are very heavy webbers, and there's also quite a deep substrate there, so these guys will burrow down as well. Now we're coming in with a paintbrush now, and you might think that was a little bit of a quick move, but this guy had been sat here for nearly half an hour, so it was time to wake him up. Look at that, that female reacted straight away. She's come straight out. There you go, she's starting to tap already. Now sometimes, as we've said before when we've looked at other pairings, sometimes the males just almost like go to sleep, so we have to wake them up. Now once we've got this kind of reaction going on now between our male and our female, we can see the female is very receptive, but our male is super cautious. And this is the time now where we just need to leave them be. Let them take their own time. Now this whole video for this pairing is only around about 10 minutes. In real time it took around about an hour and a half or so. And this is due to the male being very cautious. And we found this before with these guys when we've done the incei gold as well, which is the gold form. It's very similar. Now an interesting thing that we can see here now, we're getting a good look at the male, and you'll see that the way he taps and the way he communicates is very direct. When we see many of our other male spiders, they're waving into the wind, you know, they're being really frantic with what they're doing. But here we notice our male is very direct, very sure about what he's doing. It's almost like he's really thinking about every movement before he does it. Get a lovely shot of him there. Look at those lovely brown toes. Beautiful colouring on the males. Now you can see there now, very sure-footed. The way he's actually waving, the way he's tapping, it's got like almost like a snap to it. Every movement is like a snap movement. And we can see our female in the background there. She's responding. You notice there, she taps with her pedipalps and then also with her two front legs. Now we've come from a different angle now, and we're looking from above and get to see a little bit better of what's going on. as we said, these guys did take their time in getting sorted. But this is often a real nice time to actually have a close look at our spiders. And quite often or not, this is the only time that we really get to have a real good hard look at the females. And for this particular species, these are a dwarf spider, and they quite often go unnoticed. You know, people overlook them, and yet they are really, really cool. Many of the dwarf species are very, very pretty. We can see we've got contact now. You see our male has still got that snappy sort of leg movement to him. He's slowly sort of pushing her back, trying to get her front legs up. You notice how her movements have become much, much slower. He's still trying to keep her at arm's distance. And you can see here that the males on these are only a little bit smaller than the females. They're quite equal in size really, although she is a little heavier than him. And he's desperately trying to get her to lift up a little bit. So yeah, this is one of the spiders that is often overlooked, and which is a little unfortunate because these make absolutely superb beginner spiders. They're a New World spider. They are not defensive really. They're very, very steady little spiders in that respect. They can be a little skittish in terms of tearing around. When you open the enclosure, they quite often disappear. But if you give them a nice glass enclosure with a little bit of room, these guys will make some fantastic webs, and they will be out all the time. And if you have one of these on your sideboard in your living room or whatever, it will soon get used to the movement around the enclosure, and it will sit out all day long. They really are quite a showy spider. And to say, you get the bonus of having some really cool webbing as well. Now, many people see about keeping these as a communal spider. I wouldn't suggest doing that. They are not, despite what you hear and read, I personally would not say they are a communal spider in the true sense of the word. That being said, you can raise slings right up to juvie stage, and you will only lose the odd one here and there, providing you keep them well fed. But it will end up being where the older, the stronger slings will end up dominating any of the youngsters around them, and they will end up eating them. I've not seen a full communal group of these past sort of like small juvie stage. So as many of the spiders will tolerate one another when they're small, they will not do it once they start getting older. Now, we have tried this twice now, and we've had the same results both times, and it's just not worth it. Keep them as a single. One of the things that you can do if you want to go down that road is to allow the mother to hatch the eggs, the egg sac, and then let her look after them, because she will kill food and take it down to them, and they will all come out and feed like that. So they can make a very interesting thing like that. But just be aware that there will be a high mortality rate as they age. So once they start getting to a reasonable size, it would be time to start catching them up, separating them. But as a little project and something of interest to watch, well worth letting them go for maybe 3-4 months with mum and see what's happening. Now, our male is almost there now. Look at that. He's managed to turn her a little bit. And we're trying to get in a decent position. You can see how she's lifted up quite a bit now. Almost there. We've still not had an insemination yet. That's my belly going in the background there. Now we've changed camera angles and we're looking down now from the iPhone. Incredible how the different cameras have a different lighting. And we can see there that our little male is almost all the way underneath her. She's starting to make him look a little bit small and fragile. And there you go, there's insemination there. Whoa! She didn't take too kindly to that. There she is. So we just need to stay calm now. Give them a moment, just let them relax. Don't touch either spider because they may well just bolt in any direction. Just let them relax. We'll have another look at that, but from the top angle. And as we can see there now, our male is reaching under. He's almost there. There we go. You see that little bit of flinching there from our female. There you go. She is almost now literally directly over him. And as we can see there, insemination is about imminent. He's right the way under there now. You can see the angle of his body, so we know he's there. There we go, there's insemination. And as soon as he was finished, she tried to grab him. Very, very quick. He made his escape. And as we can see there now, our male is still up in the corner. Our female has moved down. So their temperament has changed. She's now looking to go away. We're now going to use the cricket tub lid to stop him going any further down, and now he's in the box. And there you go, we can see him being put on the desk. And our female is going back to her lair. So that was a successful pairing. We will give them one more try. But fingers crossed, everything worked really well. And there you go. She's had enough for one day. Off to bed. Well, as we said, there is a very, very cool bit of footage there with our male, and you notice it's almost like he thinks about every movement before he does it. Quite often we see with a lot of the other spiders, they're really frantic. The males are like full on. They're sort of waving and shaking and giving it some, you know. With this little fella, he was very, very, almost like snappy movements with his legs and his pedipalps. Everything, it's like everything had a real snap to it. So yeah, really interesting. Very, very good. Now when we first put him in, he actually sat there for about half an hour, didn't move. Our female didn't move either. And you'll see we come in with a paintbrush and we just give him a little tickle just to wake him up. You know, he's obviously fallen asleep. So we need to wake him up and remind him what the hell's going on. And straight away, as soon as he started to move, you notice she responded. She spun round, came out. That put him on edge a little bit. And then he had to take his time. But then once he went down there and he actually made contact, all was good. There was no holding him back. Really, really cool. Now, one of the things that we've noticed, and it's worth mentioning here, we've just watched a video there that took about 10 minutes. So we've condensed that. As you'll remember, the pairing videos are the only videos that we edit. We don't edit the other videos at all. We just do them as they come. But with the pairing videos, because of the time involved, we quite often condense them right down and try and just pick out the best bits and create like a bit of a story. So you see it from start to finish, but not so much at the middle, if you know what I mean. So that's what we try and do. Now, the interesting thing here, we often get asked, how long should our spiders take to pair? And there is no hard and fast rule. We've had spiders like we had earlier on when we had the H. gigas. They literally went in, paired, job done, over and done with in about 9 minutes, I think it was, 9-10 minutes. And that was complete, finished, and we didn't have to edit that at all. It literally was that quick. And then we've had other spiders where we've put them in the net of an evening, so we might put them in the net at say 9 o'clock in the evening. We turn all the lights out, everything else, and then we don't disturb them then. They stay, they cohabit, the male and the female cohabit in there all night long. And a few times now, when we've come in the morning, before I go to work, I check on them, and then what I normally try and do is I will separate them at that point in the morning. Well, quite often, we've noticed that when we've come in at that time in the morning, say 6 o'clock in the morning, they are actually copulating at that point. So they've been in there maybe 8-9 hours and they've only just got it on. So, you know, there is no hard and fast rule about how long it should take for them to do. You just need to be patient. It's as simple as that. If you push them and you try to maneuver, as we often see on Facebook and YouTube especially, many people, they get their spiders together and they push their males, or they literally tip their males in front of their females, and this is why it all goes wrong and we end up losing these males, is because they are thrown in there. They need to find their own time. They must take their time and do it at their own speed. And us as keepers, if we're responsible, we need to allow them that time. So if you're going to be pairing your spiders, try and make sure. I normally work on the theory when I'm doing ours here in the beastie room. I will not attempt them unless I've got the day to play around. Or if they're spiders that I know that I can cohabit, or things that I know that are going to take a long time, things like the GBBs, very time consuming, the Metallicas are another one. Many of the pokies, in fact, are, sometimes they can get it on real quick, other times they take forever. So quite often or not, we will cohabit them particular types of spiders. Those species of spiders that we know are temperamental, will cohabit them overnight, which means that we can go off and relax. We can let them get it on under the cover of darkness, which is normally the time when these spiders would be actually getting together in the wild. It would be of a night time. Don't forget, many of our spiders are actually nocturnal. So we are giving them the luxury of doing it in the time that they would naturally choose to do it. That being said, we do run the risk of our males, losing our males when we cohabit them. But we've found, by giving them, we use the big black butterfly net that you've seen here before, there's enough room in there for our male to be able to run around and do his thing and keep out of her way. So I think so far this year, I think we've only lost 2 males. One was a Rufus, and what was the other one? I can't remember what the other one was. A Rufus. Oh, and the orange tree spider. Yes, she ate her male. So all the ones that you would consider that are quite difficult, sometimes like things like the OBTs and that, they've actually managed to be fine. All of our avics, our pokies, all the males have come out and lived to see another day. So you still, if you condition them all and get everything right, you still have a far higher chance of your male surviving. So just take your time, give him that little bit of time, and things will be well. Right, well, I hope you enjoyed that that video. Some really great stuff. See the speed in which she moved at the end. He literally inseminated her, and then bang, she tried to grab him, and he was off. He was away. And it's very important as well. We said in the video, when they split like that and they're sitting in opposite ends of the enclosure, it's very, very tempting to dive in there and try and save him. Sit back and just let them do their thing. Watch them. Be ready, but just watch them from a distance and wait, if you can, wait for her to make a move. And it might be him, but generally speaking, we wait for our female to wander off and look to go back home, which is exactly what our female done this time. Once she starts to do that, we can then concentrate on moving our male. Remember, at the end of pairings, always try and secure your male if you can, but protect your female, because she's the one that's going to do the killing if there's anything going to happen. So we always look at trying to secure her so that she can't get to him. If they're in a tight spot, just place a tub over the top of her, then we can sort our male out. But just be careful. If they run into each other, she will have him for lunch. So yeah, keep your eye on him. Right, well, I hope you enjoyed that. And don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. And I will see you soon, guys.